Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. Johnny Dell, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at jonnydelsfootballacademy@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website jfa49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD49. Happy Monday. Welcome into the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast. As I figure out how to speak, big show today. I'm excited. We get diving into some film. Also talk through a little of the ins and outs, the hows and the whys, I guess, if you will, of the Brandon Aiyuk situation. But I want to start here, Johnny. Did anything jump out to you? It could be from the 49er game. It could be from anything that happened over the weekend regarding the preseason. It could be even what you think of the Cowboys getting the top 10 sacks of all time, I believe. Is that a nothing burger? Just did anything jump out to you over the weekend? We'll dive into 49er
people are probably going to think something horrible of me for saying this. I put it on my X. Did you see the most recent picture of Von Miller? Like, dude literally looks like Danny Glover from the first Lethal Weapon movie.
Well, from the first Lethal Weapon, he wasn't as old.
Remember in that first Lethal Weapon, though, Danny Glover was supposed to be 50 years old. Okay. But like the hairline looks exactly the same. And it's a whole thing. I mean,
so that jumped out to you, the age.
Yeah.
Pretty
yeah. And so they signed him. I was like, dude, he looks just like Danny Glover. He's getting too old for this stuff. But I most of the time, most of my weekend was spent watching the preseason tape. I will say Nick Martin, I think, played better than people thought he did. It wasn't perfect by any means. It wasn't great necessarily, but there were better plays than there were more good plays there than people realized. Romello Height played better than people, I think, are assuming. He had 3 plays where he just they grabbed his dome. It was straight hands to the face. One of them, you could see the ref think about throwing a flag. He kind of put his arms out, and then he decided not to. And he would have had a sack in that game. I mean, it's crazy how we look at edge rushers, because if he has 1 sack in that game, we're all talking about the next coming of Von Miller. But he would have had a sack in that game, but Tatum Bethune got driven right into his rush path. He beat the tackle around the edge, had showed that burst and bend, had gotten underneath the guy's arms and was about to be on a line for Cam Ward. But Tatum Bethune got blocked by the running back right into his path. And so he runs into Bethune's back on that. He showed the traits, though, that we had talked about, which is that incredible first step, that great burst and bend. And those are the things that you like to see. Had a couple, plays that weren't great, but he's also a rookie. And so that stood out. I think as time goes, and I think Shanahan has already mentioned this, that Carver Willis will be in the mix for the left guard. His run blocking was exactly what we saw on the tape.
You're happy about that? You're excited?
I am. I mean, look, his pass blocking as a guard is going to be a work in progress. The way I look at it, though, is, with the way that the 49ers are, I think he's got the most upside of any of the three that are there, between Jones, Connor Colby. Now, I will say Connor Colby had a better game than I thought he did. Watching the tape, there was a couple reps that were really, really good reps, really nice reps of what he had. And so, all those guys, I'm feeling pretty good about. I would love to see Kalen Black out there, but he's dealing with the abductor, and it doesn't sound like he's going to be back anytime soon, which absolutely sucks. Absolutely sucks.
Yeah.
This is a guy that was like fully healthy all the way through college, much like Ricky Pearsall. And then it's like he gets to the 49ers and instantly gets hurt. I will say, really tough break for the Cardinals. Speaking of injuries, one team that tends to be as injured as it seems as the 49ers is the Cardinals every year. Chase Bisontis, a guy that we had looked at his tape leading up to the draft as a potential interior offensive lineman for us, just tore his MCL. He's season-ending knee surgery on that. And then Jeremiah Love has a high ankle sprain that, they're looking at him coming back week 1, but if high ankles, it's going to be bothering him for lingering probably if they have to try and rush him back by week 1. That's going to be bothering him for probably the first 6 weeks of the season. So is a lot. And then Curtis Rourke, people, it wasn't a break. You could see the play it happened. It was a quarterback draw. Everybody thought he just took off and ran. That was straight a quarterback draw. And you could see him take a forearm shot right to the upper, or kind of right around your trapezius, like a little bit lower of the shoulder blade back there, in kind of the side area. So yeah, he's definitely going to be sore on that one.
What about there's a little bit of talk about Valdez. What say you?
He looked okay. I was not that impressed with most of our defensive tackles, not necessarily in a bad way, like in the sense that nobody really jumped out. Nobody really jumped out bad or good. Grayson Halton got a lot of press after the game. I felt like he had a couple really strong reps. Other reps, is very much the roller coaster we saw from the season. He's going to be a work in progress. I think early on, his best role is going to be as a pass rushing defensive tackle, using that quickness. It's going to take him a little while. I think he's got to get more of an NFL body still. He can get kind of moved. Alfred Collins was real rough the first series. After that, got better. So I don't know. The reports coming out of the joint practice, but he was showing well during the week. And then that first drive, he was getting moved around. And we had a couple defensive tackles that got moved several yards off their spot. Jacob Robinson, the nickel who played the whole game, don't want to see him on the field. He's somebody I worry about. I know Nate Hobbs is supposed to be the primary backup there for nickel. He's got to get back on the field. Jacob Robinson's not. That's not going to go well for us. That would be a gaping hole in our defense. So, yeah.
So the reason I like this channel is we talk through the hows and whys, and so that this is how you can show your support. I absolutely love this bag. I just had a meeting early this morning, and I brought this bag into the coffee shop, and it turned a few heads, mostly because people don't know what the crap is going on because they don't know. It's if you know, you know. And so
the 49ers fans know.
Yes, be sure to click the link and let us know in the comments if over the weekend you got a t-shirt or
we had a few t-shirt orders this weekend.
So let us know if you're
here.
Thank
y'all so much.
Let us know what you got. Now, the reason I bring that up regarding the hows and whys is Johnny is going to now break down the hows and the whys of cutting ties and what that looks like with Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, so the Brandon Aiyuk saga has died down a little bit, mainly because he's finally decided maybe he shouldn't be posting on social media all the time. It seems like
too late, boss.
Well, it seems like once Stephon Diggs was signed by the Commanders, he suddenly was like,
Oh,
"Oh, bro, I thought we were
he never,
best friends."
he never had a chance, bro.
Now, people have been saying the 49ers are just being petty. They need to just let him go. This is not about being petty. Okay, so
Yeah, it's real money.
where things stand right now is that the 49ers could do nothing, and Brandon Aiyuk's cap will be pushed off another year for like every game that he. So how this would work is if he stays on the did not report indefinitely for the rest of his life, what ends up happening is his contract will just keep getting delayed, so it won't vest any year. And so like if he was to stay on it for 2026, all of his cap and his prorated signing bonus would then be pushed to 2027. And so at the end of the season, his prorated signing bonus, and really it would count per game, but his prorated signing bonus would then be credited at the end of 2026 back to 2026 and then rolled over into 2027. Does that make sense? So for the 49ers, if they just don't do anything right now, then this is the best, then that's a fine way to go about it for them. Now they have to wait, for the process to actualize before they can get the credits and all this stuff. So that's probably not the actual pathway they're going to take, but that is an option for them right now. Just don't do anything, and you wait for Brandon Aiyuk to have to do something. Where it stands right now is that Brandon Aiyuk, because he's on the reserve retired list for the left squad, he is not technically in the league. So he has to apply for reinstatement to the commissioner.
And how's that going to look?
So people have been saying, Brandon Aiyuk's going to apply for reinstatement and force the 49ers to cut him. And that once he applies, then they'll cut him. And so why are we waiting around? He's going to apply before his September 1st deadline because the 49ers owe him like a $25 million option bonus there. If he's on the roster as of September 1st, then they have to pay him that bonus, which clearly they don't. So the thought is he's just going to wait this out. He doesn't want to show up to training camp. He's going to wait this out because if he's on the active roster and he's not at training camp, then he gets fined $50,000 for every practice he's not there. And he doesn't want to step foot back in that building. So the thought is that he's waiting this out now till training camp ends. Then he's going to apply for reinstatement, force the 49ers' hand. That is kind of what the prevailing thought in everybody. And so people are saying the 49ers just need to cut him now and not deal with this because he's not liable to fines while he's on the reserve left squad list for not being at training camp. The fault in that is that Roger Goodell has to approve his reinstatement and is under no obligation to come to a resolution on that in a timely manner. There's nothing in the CBA that says if Brandon Aiyuk applies for reinstatement now that he has to receive a decision within 2 weeks or that he has to receive a decision within 7 days. Roger Goodell can take as much time as he wants. And here's what Roger Goodell will most likely do because he does not represent the players. The players have their union. They have their NFLPA.
He represents the owners.
He represents 32 NFL owners and owner consortium. So his role is to protect the interests of the owners, and that is it. That is what his main job is. The owners do not want to set a precedent of if a guy gets disgruntled with my team, then he just doesn't show up, posts a bunch of crazy stuff about who he's going to sign with on social media to force his way off my team and gets to just do all of this, go wherever he wants, and it's perfectly fine. That is a bad precedent. So they're going to absolutely want to chill that precedent. So And Goodell would want to chill that precedent. So here's what Goodell most likely would do is Goodell would immediately say, Brandon, we're worried about your mental health. So I want to have a full mental health evaluation done of you before I decide on if you can be reinstated. And so you're going to see our doctor. You're going to see him on September 1st at 3:30 p.m. and it's going to be a 3-hour long evaluation.
And that'll be after
And that'll be after, because the option bonus expires at 5 p.m. on September 1st.
Oh man.
And so then he could reinstate him September 2nd. And what happens is that option bonus of the 49ers, because it passed during his time on the reserve list, it would be pushed to September 1st of 2027. And so essentially Roger Goodell could give the 49ers 364 days of contractual control over Brandon Aiyuk with no bonus structure being forced. And the only thing they're on the hook for is $1.37 million of base salary if he shows up. If he shows up.
If he shows up, which we don't think he will. But 1 million is like $1 to me and you.
So what will almost certainly happen is that Brandon Aiyuk thinks he can drag this out past his fines that he would get for training camp, get reinstated, just real quick. It's just you fill out a form. It's not a problem. I'll submit it. Goodell, it should just take a day to process.
Here's your dollar.
Yeah, that Goodell is going to reinstate him, and then he's going to force the 49ers' hand with this option bonus. It's not going to play out that way. Okay, so why would the 49ers not cut him then? Because the moment preseason ends, if a player is under contract and is actively under contract and misses a preseason while they are under contract, the 49ers immediately will have grounds, and by the CBA be able to give a letter of demand to the NFLPA for 25%, or to recoup 25% of Brandon Aiyuk's signing bonus. He had a $23 million signing bonus, so this would be about $5.5 million $5.53 million in signing bonus is what he would end up getting, or is what they would be recouping if he misses all of training camp and preseason. It ends. They can send that letter of demand. It goes to a third-party arbitrator. It's very clear that this is a guy that's been under contract and missed all of preseason. That's why Brandon Aiyuk was seen around the team last year. He was making it very public, and he was running routes and stuff. He was showing that he was there at training camp so that they couldn't sue him or give a letter of demand for that signing bonus back. So they can, that's the moment preseason ends. The moment he misses week 1, now they could probably already do this just off of preseason, but if he misses week 1, then he will have missed games in 2 subsequent seasons for leaving the squad. That would give them an immediate ability to then give a letter of demand to the NFLPA for full recouping of his $23 million signing bonus. Now, people will say, isn't that just a little harsh to go after the guy's money? He may not even be able to pay this all back. These are 2 separate things. So according to the CBA under Article 4, Section 9, and under Article 13, the league does not enforce the return of the money from a signing bonus, and they don't require the money to actually be transferred back before they count the cap credits. So what that means is that the Yorks may not ever receive money back from Brandon Aiyuk, but the salary cap will be credited back once that letter of demand is approved by a third-party arbitrator. So how it would work is the 49ers send a letter of demand to the NFLPA for full forfeiture of Brandon Aiyuk's $23 million signing bonus. It would go to an independent arbiter. Again, having the evidence of that this is a player who has missed season games in 2 subsequent seasons while under contract and missed a preseason and has put the things he did on social media. That would be about as quick as it goes. It would take about 32 minutes for an independent arbiter to say, yes, this guy is clearly in breach of contract. And therefore, then he would award the 49ers the $23 million. So the 49ers at the end of 2026 will get $23 million of salary cap space credited back to them for 2027. Now, the Yorks, if they wanted to actually get that cash back, then they would have to take Brandon Aiyuk to civil court, and they could place liens on his property. Brandon Aiyuk would have to then send a letter to a request back to the IRS saying that, well, I paid taxes on earnings that I actually have not actually gotten. So the IRS would have to refund him his taxes that he paid on that $23 million. He would also have to do that through the state of California for the taxes they took on that. He would then have to get that back, then try and pay the Yorks. They would put liens on his properties. Now that's a separate issue. Whether or not the Yorks do that, I don't foresee them actually doing that. I think they probably at this point don't want to ever talk to Brandon Aiyuk again. And so what's going to happen here is they're going to keep this process out. The moment week 1 passes, probably on the plane ride back, York and Alguido are probably going to be have the drafts already made up to send the NFLPA the letter of demand and start the process to recoup all $23 million of cap space that Brandon Aiyuk's signing bonus had. That is why they're not doing anything. That is why they're not releasing him. That is why they took his name out of the locker room, because they probably already realized that the moment of no return for Brandon Aiyuk has passed, that Goodell will delay this for at least a month, even if Brandon Aiyuk applies for reinstatement, and they have no intention of bringing him back into the building. So that is what's happening right now.
So a couple of things to address here. We are all over the Brandon Aiyuk talk. We're over it. But on this channel,
as far as Scott saying, claw back the left squad regular season games, that already happened. When they put him on the left squad, that was credited back at the end of 2025. So it was credited towards 2026. It just wasn't a big amount because it wasn't a lot of base salary. So this is now for the $23 million. So in essence, what the 49ers would get is this would clear somewhere around $100 million in cap space over the next 3 years. That's why they're not going to do anything. Like people saying it's being petty. No, it's actually about real dollars and cents to have to do with the salary cap, because the 49ers, when they have had salary cap space, have been absolutely willing to go make some big splashes in free agency and trades or trade and signs. Like D Ford, for example. D Ford wanted a big contract from the Chiefs. Chiefs didn't want to give him one. We traded a second round pick and then paid him a massive contract. Did the same thing with Christian McCaffrey. We traded for him, gave him a big contract. We traded for Trent Williams, made him the highest paid left tackle in the league. We signed Charvarius Ward. We signed Malcolm Smith to one of the largest linebacker contracts there was when we signed him. That was 2017. They're trying to build the defense, and he had been the former MVP of the Super Bowl with the Seahawks. They gave Quan Alexander a $14 million a year contract when that was, I think, top 5 at the position at the time. Jerick McKinnon was paid top 3 at the position when they signed him in free agency. Weston Richburg top 3 in the as a position when they signed him as a center. Javon Hargrave got $25 million a year from the 49ers. Like the 49ers have shown that they will go make a big splash in free agency when they have the cap space. This Brandon Aiyuk situation and what they're doing with him is all about cap space. Just dollars and cents. So all of that.
So, and again, I want to talk through some of the comments like, oh, why are we talking about this? It's not talking through his shenanigans. We're over that. It's explaining why the team is doing what we're doing.
And I want to get ahead of this because people will say when the 49ers send a letter of demand, they're saying they're going after his money. Man, this has turned ugly. They need to understand that these are two separate things. Because they send a letter of demand to the NFLPA does not mean that they're actually going to try and make Brandon Aiyuk pay every cent back. It means they're trying to get the cap space back. And that it's a relatively simple process at this point. And come September 2nd will be a very simple process for them to get all of that $23 million back. This is simply about $23 million of cap space. Like you can do a lot with $23 million. So it's something that very much will have something to do, and there's gonna be confusion, and I hate to use the term misinformation, but there's gonna be information out there that won't be quite accurate. It's gonna be like partially correct. It's gonna be, and people are gonna make more drama of it than is actually there. As far as is CMC holding in for an extension, I don't know. McCaffrey is, I love the guy, but he's kind of a Trent Williams in that um, he really wants to be recognized as the top running back kind of guy. And so these other running backs getting contracts. Now, I will say it's going to be a little hard for him to justify a new contract when he just got one in 2025. They just made him then they restructured his contract to give him a pay raise. So I don't think it actually is. I think they're trying to be exceedingly cautious with him, considering what happened with his bilateral tendonitis in 2025 or 2024, excuse me. So that's what I think.
What about Cayman's Island then as well? Thank you guys for the super chats. I've been wondering about Vita Vea as well. If you had a choice of Vita or any of the rumored available DNs for trade, who would you get? Vita's age just bothers me, but he would be a beast.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a little crazy to me that when we're sitting here in April, everybody's talking about how old the 49ers are and how they don't have any young stars, and they're going to have all these aging vets be old and hurt by the end of the season, and they need to get younger. And then Vita Vea's name pops up as a potential trade opportunity, and everybody says if the 49ers don't get Vita Vea, they're unserious this year. Okay, which is it? The 49ers are old and they need to get younger, or they should go out and get every vet that's out there that's around 30. I mean, come on. I will say Vita, I've seen this thrown out there that the 49ers, one, should trade Alfred Collins in a second for Vita Vea. Okay, one, you invest a second round pick in a defensive tackle and you have him under a rookie pay scale. You don't trade that away. Come on. If the 49ers believe in Alfred Collins, you don't trade him away. Two, if you don't believe in Alfred Collins, that's a red flag to the Buccaneers, who are not going to accept Alfred Collins in a trade for Vita Vea. So it's one of those that if you're willing to part with him, then you probably can't offload him for that trade. If you're unwilling to part with him, then he's not part of the trade either. I don't see it as like a player for player swap in there is pretty rare for a lot of reasons. I don't see it happening. Would I like to see Vita Vea here? Sure. I mean, the idea of pairing him with Osa Odigizua and Nick Bosa, man, that sounds great. I just don't know. One, the age is a concern when you have an old roster, and with how many potential really good blue chip players are looking to come out of this 2027 draft. I really don't want to give up 2027 draft capital, especially when you see like what DeZhaun Stribling could be this year and some of that. Now he's got some things that's got to clean up, and we got to get on the details of things. But you can see the impact of that. Everybody says, well, the 49ers can't draft anyways. They should just trade away their picks. I'm not on that train. Like, if you can't draft, you should not be running a team. Like, the solution for you being a bad drafting team is not to trade away all your draft picks for expensive players. Like, this is not a sustainable thing. That will end poorly for everybody. So you have to believe you can be good at drafting. So don't draft that up. I'd send that away. It would have to be a really good deal. Like, I would send them a conditional third and then a second in 2028. I don't think they would take that deal, but that's what I would do.
Yeah. So you mentioned Stribling. The over 100 people live with us in the chat are probably waiting for you to.
They're like, we don't want to hear about the receiver we don't have. They want to hear about the receiver we do have. So everybody saw DeZhaun Stribling in the game. There's some of the short passes, there's not much there to break down. It was very clear. We could see it on the broadcast, so I won't get into that. Now, both Shanahan and Kubiak had talked about that he struggled a little bit, especially on that first drive. And so what are they talking about? Because people will be like, well, he dropped the pass. What else did he struggle with? Well, there was a number of things. And so we'll look at these here. He's at the top. We're going to run a play on this that is a staple in our offense. I probably break it down 150 times a season, but this is called keeper. It's a slide concept. So you fake your wide zone one way, and then you roll your quarterback out, and you get a 3-level vertical pass on the other side. So you're going to take, this is Braden Willis. He's going to go on a deep corner route. You're going to bring a crossing route from Malik Turner. This is Jordan Watkins. He's going to run what's called a down flat route from a condensed split. So he looks like he's going to come try and cut off this backer on this, and then he's going to sit down over the middle and then work his way slowly back outside. And DeZhaun Stribling was what's called a wide split down, or a slot down flat route. So the same route, but it's coming from the slot position here. So what he's got to do is he's got to aim for this nickel, cross his face. That's very important. Cross his face, get him out here. You want to get into this guy's vision so he sees you and he feels you coming at him. So you want this guy to then attack the run hard. You want him to feel that block coming in, and you want him to try and beat you to the point so that you can get so that he drives on this run fake a little bit harder. And then when that happens, if that corner sees that he comes in there for a block, then he's going to come down for a replace. So you really got to sell this block to get both of these guys, because what ends up happening is if that nickel bites really hard, like if you get into his peripheral and you make him bite, then the corner comes down, what usually happens, and I've seen this dozens of times, is that this corner will then, when he realizes when he sees that quarterback rolling out, he's going to turn and try and locate this corner route and just bail out of here. That's what happens 9 times out of 10 on these. And what you get is, as you come on this down flat route, then you head to the flat, and you're usually wide open with a corner with his back turned, running away. They dump it off to you, and you go get 20 yards on this. We've seen Debo do these. We've seen George Kittle do these. We've seen Juwan Jennings do these. That's a huge part of this route. Okay, why do I get into all that? Because DeZhaun here, he runs textbook as far as the arrows on the paper, this route into 3 to 5 yards, and then run out. He never tries to cross this guy's face, never tries to get into his space, never tries to make him feel him there, that he's going to block him. He just runs up here and then runs his route. Okay, that is why you can't do that, because this nickel never feels you. He's able to get clear vision, and he backs out. The corner never bites. He stays here. He's got eyes on everything the whole way. He's going to come down, take you away initially, and then he'll drift back to this corner route. So as Curtis Rourke is rolling out here, what he sees is well, he's got a guy this way, and he's got a guy that's about to clamp down. And so then, because this is a 1 to 2, that's the way this progression works. It's low to high. It's not high to low. So then as he moves on to the high, then the corner's able to drift back in here. Then from there, Curtis Rourke, by the time he works back to him, he says, it's real tight against the sideline. I've got space. I'm going to go take it. Now, Curtis Rourke probably needs to let this go still, but I think he's worried about the angle. Can the nickel go get that pass? That is a serious detail that's got to get cleaned up. This is a staple play for our offense. It's a week 1 install. You've got to cross that guy's face, get into their vision, make them think that you're going to block, and that will set everything else up. That is a major detail he's got to understand. So that is a growth point, a growth coaching point there. That's why he's going to get reps these next 2 preseason games. I know for me, it was like, put him in bubble wrap. I've seen enough. Then you watch the tape and you go, now this guy needs a lot of reps. He needs to get out there and get this stuff. The other thing we had talked about, man, guy's a great blocker in college, really good blocker. Well, now you're playing against some NFL DNs. You've got a crack block on this, and you've got to be a lot better than this. Now, this is a guy he's probably given up 40 pounds to, but man, you got to be better than that.
And that guy makes a tackle, dude.
That's what blows the whole play up. So, yeah. DeZhaun, you are a great blocker in college. You need to come be a great blocker for the 49ers. So, and some of this is just, apprehension. Like he's trying to get in there. He's doing what he did in college. He was a big guy. He could go get those DNs and hit him. Now you've got to go hit that guy with some force. You got to put your the crown of your helmet right into the side of their face mask. It won't be a blindside block then, but you've got to go throw like a shoulder into their body. You got to like shock that guy. You can't just get in there and say, "Oh, I'm going to block somebody." You got to be better than that. Here, this is the drop pass. Okay, part of what leads to this is he needs to be lined up just about a yard farther outside. This is part of the alignment stuff they were talking about. He's a little bit too close in here. They generally on these want this a little bit wider. When you're on this where you have a receiver outside the numbers, you don't split the hash in the numbers. You come just about a yard closer there. And so that's part of why this ball is as far behind him. The other thing is understanding to throttle down if you're going to be there, but he should be about here at this point because he should be lined up a yard farther outside. So that's what leads to that play. Because Curtis Rourke, if you think about this, he never is looking for where DeZhaun is, right? His eyes are on the defense, which is what you want. He's going to throw this to a spot. So he's expecting DeZhaun to be out here a little bit more on this slant. And so, yeah. And he's good of not throwing him into a big hit and throwing the pick there, but you gotta get that cleared up. Here, you can see him at the top. Now look at this. You got a quarterback saying, "Hey, yo, you're supposed to be on the other side." And you got Jordan Watkins saying, "Hey, yo, you're supposed to be on the other side." You got Hodge saying, "Dude, come on over here. You're supposed to be on this side."
The whole team.
Yeah, and the thing about this is his the pop pass to him that Femi blows up. So, that's just you're not lining up correctly.
Right. Like,
you're lining up on the wrong side.
You're going to get the ball here. That means you have to start on the other side, bro. Like, how do you not know that?
Well, there's a lot to digest. There's a lot of formations, a lot of motions, a lot of routes. So this is why he's got to get these reps during training camp. So
you would think Johnny, you would think a play in which you are literally receiving the ball right after the ball is snapped, that would be the play, though, that you would think that you would line up in the correct spot. One would just think. I'm just saying.
Well,
so that's a pretty big screw up to me.
It isn't. It isn't.
He's getting the ball. That's why his teammates were pointing it out. Dude, you're the one getting the ball. You, of all people, have to be in the right spot.
Well, sort of. So how the nomenclature and the verbiage is going to work on this is that they're going to have a formation call, which is a color. Like for example, brown, right, is what it's going to be. That's not brown, but as just an example in West Coast, it's usually a color. So they're going to have a color code call out that tells him where it's going to be. But then his motion is going to have an adjuster in there. So it's going to say F right or F zoom. I forget the 49ers. They have like 12 different names for their motions. So each one is a specific motion. So what he's hearing is it's probably F right. So he's going to hear like brown right, F right. So what he's hearing in there is I'm on the right with the F right because he's in the F position. So that's where it is. That just means there's a lot of verbiage in this, and so it's about it all slowing down for him. And so he understood where he was going to end up. The confusion was where he started because he was going to go in motion. And so it was, hey, well, you're over there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm motioning over here, not starting over here. That's the kind of thing. And that's why he needs the reps, like to calm the mind, calm everything. And so it's not as overwhelming for him. This is a play called Skinner. We've run this a lot. So you get a corner route from the backside. You have a widened Skinner route here from Jordan Watkins, which is going to be like a widened skinny post with a little shake at the top. And when you get this, when you're on the field side, so that is the wide side of the field because they're on the hash over here, what DeZhaun Stribling, he needs to be lined up about a yard farther inside. and then run this route right down the hash. It's a through route. And once he's got to aim for the near safety, once he passes the first level of the defense, he's got to bend this to the middle of the field. So on this route, there's a number of issues. There's an alignment issue, and then there's an execution issue on this. So he does a good job. He understands he's got to aim for this to get down this hash, but you need to be starting closer inside, aim at this safety, not the single safety. He's not reading that this safety's backed out and this safety's going back, so it's a half field safety. You've got to come right down this hash and then curl over. This is a through route. It's going to be a little more bendy than that, but you've got to do that because you really got to grab this safety and pull him inside, because you're going to widen this corner with the Skinner, the wide and skinny, and then run this post, and this is where you want to hit the throw. So his route is important here. He runs this. I don't like how he turns and throttles down once he gets past the first level of the defense. This is where you got to book it right at that safety. You're starting to grab this guy, right? And the quarterback's in your throw, but you've got to, don't give up on this early. Really pull this guy out there, because then he stops. Once he sees you're not running a route, he's going to stop and go get in there and make the play. You need to open this up so that Jordan Watkins can take that and go for a big gain afterwards. So we're seeing some just details of these things. I tell you, I have 5 different notations on Skinner, and every single one is down this hash with a through route and then breaking over. And it's always a through route. So you have got to get down that hash and then bend this thing over right here. You got to angle hard inside. Don't throttle down, run this route with conviction, get past that first level, bend it, and then go. Take the top off that defense, man. That's one thing we're looking for from you, is to take the top off the defense and get down there. Now, those are the things he needs to work on, things that he does really, really well. What we saw from college is translated to the NFL. That blazing speed, his ability. One thing I showed was, man, strong hands catcher. The guy goes and gets the ball at the high point.
Yeah.
He catches with his hands. He snatches everything out of the air. We saw that with some of the short passes. This is a classic example of what they call a red line drill. So if you ever see practice fields at the NFL and college, they have these red lines that are painted down the field. What they use these for is area tracking. So what they teach these receivers is when you run these go fades, they want you down that red line. Do not get outside that red line for the first 10 to 15 yards. The reason why is you want to give your quarterback space to be able to lead you to the sideline.
Because if you start down there, there's no way to go. You want to give them a window
because
of space.
And what they teach corners is you try and if your guy's going vertical, you try and get them, redirect them outside that red line, so that you can use the sideline as your help defender here. This is a great job of giving a little nod inside, creating just enough space to then run through your guy at the red line. It's great work there. Wow. Okay, you got it. Now you can give space to work to the sideline, and you can see him adjust to it.
We got to see it again too. Show it again, Johnny. That's really cool.
So he's going to work a little bit inside, get it, then right down.
That first step after he fakes inside, that first step to then break and go outside, right there. Oh man, that's really good.
And you can see that gear he has, because there's that burst to accelerate. You see it, boom, there it goes. He accelerates, and then he turns and tracks the ball. At this point, the ball is in the air right here. He's going to track the ball.
Great ball.
And get out there. And I will say, man, this got a lot of people hyped. Watch this guy right here.
The whole team, man, was
there. He is. There he is. You know who that is? That's when Deebo Samuel. Here he comes. There he is. Oh man, he's hyped.
Let's go.
He's hyped. When you get Deebo hyped on the sideline in a preseason game,
Deebo is all of us. I think that was during an interview too.
See, here he is. There comes Debo. Hat off. He pulls the hat off.
Yeah,
He's going.
Let's go.
Oh,
They
yeah,
were doing an interview with one of the players.
Debo's lower body is still pretty jacked, dude. Like, look at his hips compared to that guy.
Yeah. Debo got a dunk.
And then what else do we like about him? This is a staple play in the 49ers system. We've run this for years. The Ohio concept, Kyle calls this Tony. So you have a protection release fade out here. Jordan Watkins has got to get this corner to widen and retreat to create space for a Tony route in here. It breaks at 5 yards. It can sit down versus zone. It breaks out versus man. To be able to set this up, run this route. This was like the Juwan Jennings special right here to catch it, then make the yards after the catch. Be physical. Don't let him tackle you early.
To step out and not get it called.
I don't know. I don't know if he stepped out. Honestly, it looks like his toe is down, but his heel is up. So right here, like there is still a little bit of green in between his toes and the sideline. Okay, so there's that. And then it's right here that you're wondering. It looks like his toe is down and his heel is not.
I just think he stepped out. I'm okay. Look, I'm a 49er fan, so that's
understand.
Fine.
This ref is staring straight at his feet and did not call him out.
Yeah, he's on
the take. Guy has a better look than any of us will ever get.
Yeah, he's on the take. They showed the replay. You could see his foot on the touching the white.
I'm just saying.
Enhance. I love quiffle ball. I love quiffle ball.
This is best as we can enhance it at 720p. That's all the teams do for their
enhance
film breakdown or their coach's film they get.
I love it. That's so good.
That's part of it with DeZhaun Stribling. As you see, there's a lot of detail that needs to be cleaned up, and that hopefully that gives us some context to what you've seen in the pressers because they talk in general terms, right? He needs to work on some stuff over that. Okay, but you can see it is stuff that it's mostly playbook stuff and it's detail stuff. Now, again, that is generally an issue that keeps guys out. He needs the reps over these next 2 weeks. This is a really important 2 weeks for him. It should get easier for him as it goes because this is like trying to drink water from a fire hydrant when
fire hose,
when you have like the first week and a half of training camp because there's so much install and it's something new every day. Now it's about going back and repping all the things that you've done and getting those in. So it hopefully will start out like a fire hydrant and then, more like a hose on the jet spray and then to just the garden hose and then just a nice water fountain. That's hopefully what it feels like for him over the next 3 weeks. But there it is.
I'm excited to know that I agree with a one Hugh Wilkins 33. Stribling equals first round talent. That is what I'm excited about. I felt it in my loins, in my gut, that he was a first round talent after going through some stuff with you over the last 2 months, but now seeing it, and obviously there's going to be things for a 4-year receiver to clean up at times. There's going to be things. So obviously the first preseason game, things to be cleaned up, but the talent that we see, and when we just picture in week 5, 3rd and 14, and this guy's going to come up with a big catch. Like we already know that, like we can feel it. So that's what, don't make fun of my loins. Okay. Why are you coming up
the Johnny Dell's Football Academy loincloth?
Yeah, with a turban.
What you did see here's kind of the I think maybe I would like to think an even keeled take because we're seeing some very unbalanced things. Like one is like DeZhaun Stribling, it's just preseason. There's a lot that was terrible. Blah. Okay, we're seeing some of that. We're also seeing like this
Oh, he's
guy
Terrell Owens.
is the next TO. Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm seeing.
So I think some even killed, and I look on this is one, the guy needs reps. There's details that have got to get cleaned up. There's a long way to go. He is far from a finished product right now.
Of course.
But the things that we saw on his college tape that got us excited,
they check out.
The speed, the size, the hands,
making
those things, those things are immediately translating to the NFL. That is a huge positive sign. When
Johnny, we literally saw a play where he caught the ball, made a turn, and then took it to the house. And on that play that I talked about him being out of bounds, it's exactly the same thing that you want to see, that twitchiness, like to
that burst in acceleration and to be able to run to run past guys, run through guys. And so this will tie into what Scott's super chat is. Thank you so much for the super chat. We really do appreciate it. There is a clear role for him on this offense. And this goes back to what I was saying in some of the breakdowns we were doing after he was drafted. There's a clear role for this guy. And we had said this before Debo came along. I said, I don't see him as a full-time guy rookie year, but that doesn't mean that there will not be a clear role for him. You know, and this is all playing out exactly how I talked about it back then, which is the things that he was showing, the speed, the great hands, the physicality are translating early, because I said those are things that should translate immediately to the field. The details are going to be the things that make it harder, but you will be able to manufacture situations for him, and there will be a clear role for him on this offense. He is going to be somebody that you can try and get the ball in his hands, that you'll be able to put on certain routes, like a Tony route there, when you know you're going to get cover two and it's third down. That gives you a viable answer. He doesn't have to be a great route runner to run that all the time. He needs to be physical, can be able to go and turn up field, get 5 yards in a hurry, and make a physical finish to the play. He can do those things, and we've seen it. We see it immediately. That's the role that I look at, is that 3rd and Juwan, 3rd and 6. You give Brock an answer to the left for a different coverage. You give him that Tony route, to the Tony concept to the right. It's the right look. He can throw it there. We saw Juwan Jennings make so many first downs that way. DeZhaun Stribling instantly has that same role, and you can see instantly that he can do it. And so it translates immediately. That you see a guy who, if you can hit him on that through route, on a crossing route, he has home run speed. He has an ability that they're playing bump man on you, that now they have to think about putting a safety over there, because you have a guy who can go high point catch it, who's got long arms. He's 6'2". He's got 4.33 speed. That is a matchup nightmare for a team. Like, I don't care that it's Trent McDuffie out there. If they put him on that, I'm going to test him with a go ball against DeZhaun, because that might just be a 55-yard play. You know, like, there are options now that you have for this. That he will have a clear role. Is he going to be does he need to be your Mike Evans right now? No, as long as Mike stays healthy. Does he need to be your Debo, that he's going to be going in there and running over a safety over the middle of the field? He doesn't necessarily have to be that. He doesn't have to be your bubble screen guy or your tunnel screen guy all the time, but he can go block a corner for Debo on a tunnel screen, and I like that. So there is a clear role for him in this offense, and I think you'll see it. You will see it early, and I could easily see him with 8 touchdowns this year. That's just kind of what I'm feeling on this. Again, assuming he stays healthy, assuming the offense stays healthy, and all of these things help Christian McCaffrey. So it's all good. There are things I wanted to at least show. It's not a finished product, but that should also excite us even more, because there's even a higher ceiling. Like, we are just scratching the surface of this kid.
We are scratching the surface on these loincloths, Johnny. So Scott, Niner practice shorts cover about as much as a loincloth. And think of like the old school, like I think of like John Stockton, or even like
the old school, like late 80s, early 90s, short basketball shorts. Golly, man.
Gosh, that was rough. Like, so bad. But I love that we can have some fun regarding the different things that people are wanting or not really wanting on your merch store. Remember, the Shopify link is in the show notes. Remember to click on it, and then you can see what I love too, Johnny. I'll say is all the different color schemes that you can
Mhm.
just simply click on. So if you're like me, you do love a classic white, but on a t-shirt, man, it's really difficult to keep that clean. So I love the heather gray, and there it is right there on cue. We did not rehearse this, and it was right on point, bang bang. So I love gray, black obviously is classic. Johnny is partial to some of that green, like that army kind of look style
Well, look,
too. I
so I
feel
wanted to
like
make everything able to do military green. You know, I know there's a lot of people who, especially some vets who like to wear the military green
yeah,
and keep that on there. My wife got one. She got one in the green. I tried not to do ones in other teams' colors, but like the
sure.
hats come in different colors. There's a lot. That's what I love about the merch store. This hat comes in red. This one comes in a lot of dark colors. I have a different hat that has lighter colors. It's a little bit different in design, but it has like a white border or a different border than this one does. This one was specifically for some darker ones, but
Might
um,
be which play is going to be on the loincloth, a deep route.
I
No,
will say
it would have
I'm
to be a
trying.
hook. It'd have to be
I'm
a short.
trying. I'm trying to make one of the pick at the stick. It's giving me some fits. I'm
Uh,
not gonna lie. Like I'm having some struggles with that. It's not coming out the way I want it to. So
Post
hopefully
pattern.
we'll be able to
Take it to the
make it out better.
post. Take it to the post. All right. So we have probably some more practice these next few days. Maybe something crazy happens. Maybe we get
Well,
Vita
and I mean,
something by
we
Friday.
we we do have a preseason game this week,
Oh well, duh. I forget
so
that
I
they're
mean,
on. I
we
forget
we 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 are kind of playing a preseason game Thursday night.
that is true. So Friday's show will be action packed for sure. I've dude forget. Ugh. I digress. I'm in preseason mode. I make mistakes too.
Yeah,
Uh,
you know the preseason's kicked off when the lives start getting more people in there, and people are like, okay, because the YouTube
right.
algorithm is starting to see people are tuning in to 49ers stuff. Yeah. So Scott, the John Taylor TD, that one is on there. It's the Super Bowl 23 shirt.
Absolutely. I have that
I
one.
have that one. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Adam's got one. That's my favorite shirt, and it's on a hoodie. I haven't got the hoodie yet myself because we're in the middle of a heat wave in Alabama. It is 100
Yeah.
degrees with um super high humidity, but as assuming and the way El Nino is shaping up, that
Uh-oh.
down here in the southeast we should have a cooler than normal fall. So that October 25th game against the Atlanta Falcons, I'm there and I'm going to be wearing my Super Bowl 23 hoodie. I am so excited for it. I'm going
For
to be at
those of
John
you,
Chapman's both his game
Rush.
day before 49ers Rush road trip and the tailgate. Man, I'm excited. It'll be my first 49ers Rush tailgate. I'm so excited for it. John's awesome. Man, can't be. The only
For,
thing that me and John don't agree with on this is I think Carver Willis will be the week 1 starter at left guard. He's a little concerned about his anchor in pass pro, but I'm like, man, he's an elite run blocker, and the film showed it. He had the best game of any of our guards, but he was also playing in the second half. But he should start getting reps this week with the 2s and the 1s. I think it's going to happen. I think the catch 2, I'm working on that one. I've been trying to comb through my old playbooks to get to see if I have the actual play from Mariucci's hand. Well,
yeah.
at that point they were doing on computers, but it wasn't hand drawn. But I'm going to find it because it's
Sure.
3-jet all go was what it was. So I was
Yeah.
trying to find some coaches film of it and couldn't find any because I want to say Mooch said it was cover 4, but T.O. said it was cover 2. And it's really hard to find the angles to figure out exactly what the coverage was.
Yeah. Back then they didn't have like the drone shots and all these different camera angles, maybe, right? So
They didn't.
crazy to think. So to answer Terry's question, Adam,
Terry,
what are you saying? I don't know. Terry, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to end the show and it's always clunky.
Adam, what are
Basically.
you saying? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I
Who
email
knows?
Mooch directly? I wish I could. Man, I would get Mooch on this show in a heartbeat.
Well,
I would love
you,
to talk ball with Mooch.
dude, no kidding. Can you at him? Like he's still on NFL Network. Does he have a Twitter?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Mooch doesn't do a lot of podcasts. Like you don't see Mooch showing up on podcasts really.
No,
ever.
and that's fair. That's fair.
I will say I thought about for a second about trying to get a former player that somebody was a little frustrated with earlier in the chat on the show, but he charges $1,000 to be on a podcast, and I was like, nah,
we'd have to get.
I ain't doing that one.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
So yes, we're excited. Should be another big show on Friday. Be sure in case if something.
So wait, before we go though, Adam, I have to know for preseason, because we talked about preseason snacks. What is going to be your go-to for a preseason snack this Thursday night?